It's best ball season, and we're diving into ADPs because one man's reach is another man's. It's probably a reach. Yo! What's happening, everybody? It's the Too Much Crew coming at you with, yes, it's fantasy football. It's too much, but it's too much best ball version. We're coming in here right before the NFL draft, and of course, there's big boards up there to be had. Brennan, how are we doing today?
Just feeling like a degenerate right now going to best ball when some of the rookies haven't been drafted. I did this last year and it's a ton of fun. You just like really hope to gamble on somebody that'll hopefully win you the league. Like I took a ton of rookie Pearsall and that didn't really flourish till the end of the year and I was already kind of out. So
It's wild how many, like, oh my God, I killed it on some of these picks in these NFL draft best ball matches. And then others, I'm like, oh wait, but I've got 4 dead picks right there because, didn't realize he was going to get covered. So we're going to dive through here. We're going to go through the first few rounds, talk about some of the players that we think are our favorites per round, some of the ones that scare us the most. And then, of course, those upside gambles, the ones you have to take because it's best ball. You don't want to be just top 10, top 20. You want to be number 1 overall to win that big tournament if you're taking down the big one. So, without further ado, let's get it going. Wait, we got a bit of news here? Yeah, we got a bit of news. A little bit. Geno scored a 2-year deal. Looks like he will be extended there in Las Vegas. I kind of thought they were going to be holding out just to see what quarterbacks maybe were on the board when they pick at 6. And maybe that might have been why they hadn't extended him at this point. But it looks like they're wrapping him up 2 years. He'll be there bridging the quarterback, whether they take one or not.
yeah, I mean they still like I think Geno's fine with Pete Carroll. I think they're gonna I think you and I are in the assumption they're gonna I think Ashton Genty's a real landing spot, so they can take the pressure off of Geno. Whether they want to take a quarterback later and develop him, it's still a fine signing because it just works wonders for Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers. So we all love it here.
Absolutely. I'm happy for the guy, too. One of the older quarterbacks in the league at this point starting. What else do we have on the dock? Any other big splash news? It's getting dry, folks. It's going to be dry for another couple weeks.
Yeah, the only other news that I saw was Brees Hall's going to be in a committee supposedly, so that's a fun one.
Yeah, we do have Braylon Allen, which they took last year in the draft, and then Isaiah Davis, who they also took a couple rounds. I believe he was a 6th rounder, and Braylon Allen was a 4th rounder. So it's muddying the water. This is Brees' contract year 2, so I really hope if they don't re-sign him, they're just gonna, put him to the wolves, run him, push him all the way to the end. But otherwise, this is gonna get murky, and he might be featured on the today's episode possibly.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't really think there's a whole lot more. Tyreek Hill, there's buzz that there could possibly be trades looking there. I hope he gets traded. We were talking just recently. Let's send him to the Packers. How fun would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I think they said there could be a couple draft night trades, and I think Tyreek Hill is definitely mentioned. Chris Olave was mentioned as a potential one too. So like, we really like obviously we didn't think AJ Brown was gonna get traded on draft night when that happened. That was kind of out of the blue. Same with the Hollywood Brown when that happened. I don't remember his buzz being around like, oh, he might be traded. So like, we could see somebody unexpectedly being traded on draft night too.
Yeah, handful of guys coming into contract years. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I love this new generation of the NFL. I feel like the last 4 to 6 years, just the trades have been just amplified so much more as far as like real worthy players.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so round 1, folks. If you haven't drafted your first best ball draft, go ahead and hop in over there. I'm going to be using Underdog's ADP. I'm actually drafting a little bit more on DraftKings this year. I kind of like the ADP. It's a little bit more favorable to me, but let's ride with the underdog. Just it is the favorable platform.
It's the king of the crop for best ball.
Absolutely. So right now we're looking at Jamar Chase at 1, Barkley 2, Bijan, Justin Jefferson, Gibbs, Lamb, Puka, Nico, Neighbors, Amon-Ra, BTJ, and Genty as your first 12 picks. So let's go ahead and break it down here. Let's start, we're going to go positive here, folks. What is this one just feels like a lock in the first round. Who's that for you?
I mean, it's like in the first round, it's so difficult because like you can just sit there and say like the first 5 names and just be like, yeah, they're a lock. So like I think it's kind of like on the cheating side, but for me, it's Brian Thomas Jr. You can get him in the back end and what he did his rookie year. I mean, some people had him better than Malik Neighbors. So like for me, I'm a Brian Thomas Jr. believer. It's really unfortunate being a Colts fan, but the dude just put up unreal numbers, and I think with Trevor Lawrence coming back, I think they're just going to continue the same. And there's no one really next to him right now. So
Yeah, 87 receptions, 1282 in yards, and then 10 touchdowns. Can he replicate it again? That's going to be the big question. He did have a little bit of Mac Jones out there, so Trevor Lawrence, can you stay healthy the whole time? New offensive line coming in. Very hopeful, very hopeful. But I guess let me just segue. This is my lottery ticket, my gamble at least. I do think there is room for a little regression. You're taking him. He's going at wide receiver 8 right now, so I think that's a really realistic landing spot for him. I think he has a higher ceiling, definitely. But as far as like median outcome, I feel like that's kind of right where you're going to be drafting him. So there is going to be just that, maybe a slight risk, but out of any of these guys that aren't being drafted top 4, I think he has the best chance of being 1. Like, just
yeah,
he is the real deal as far as catches, yards, and touchdowns. Amon Ra's he gets it on the back of a lot of catches. You're going to see a lot of these guys that are maybe faceted in just 2, maybe just one of those, but this guy, he can do all 3. Who's going to be your gamble then?
my gamble that sits right now, unfortunately, it's Ashton Genty, just because we don't know where he's going to go. Now, do I expect a team to take him to fully have him be the lead back? Yes, absolutely. But let's just say he falls to the Saints. Like,
Ooh.
that muddies the water a little bit. That's where I'm saying it's just like, I don't know. Like, I have taken plenty of Ashton Genty because I truly believe the Raiders, Cowboys, somebody's going to take him. But there is a real chance the Saints can take him and just view him as like, okay, he's our next media lead back for the next couple of years. I know they signed Alvin Kamara. That doesn't mean they won't be able to use both. But I think if they do use both, it takes away some of the opportunity. That's why I'm just saying it's a gamble as it sits right now because we just don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely screwy. Things could happen. It's the NFL draft. You expect just madness. That's for sure. So my lock-in player for round 1, the player that I am really happy about, and funny enough, I couldn't take. So wide receiver 1 is Jamar Chase. Running back 1 is Saquon Barkley. I feel like those are the hardest players to say. Like, it's round 1. Like, they're going first overall for a reason. But like,
Yeah.
CMC was not my most popular take at pick 101 last year because it just felt so scary to be taking the consensus 101. I always like mixing that up a little bit, dabbling
I
it
took
down.
Justin Jefferson a lot at 101.
Yeah, and it paid out for you. I didn't take him
Yeah.
quite that early, but I did more Tyreek Hill, but I did dabble into him and Jamar Chase as like my 101 quite a bit. I was going heavy wide receiver, which bit me in round 1, but my lock is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. You're getting him at running back 3 about midway of the first round. Dude's going to tear it up. Absolutely going to. Year 3 for the guy. Ben Johnson's gone, so I don't know how creative this new OC is going to be. So they might just rely on the run, which is going to be him. Montgomery's missed time the last couple of years. He's getting older. Just give me Gibbs all day long.
How much do you think Montgomery's still going to eat into his touches though? Because I still think it's going to be
I
a
d-
little bit. I think they'll start to slowly
I'm trying to
make it
remember.
like
They didn't extend him, did
Jameer.
they?
They did. They gave him a 2-year extension.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So I do still think he's going to be involved. I still think you're going to get that touchdown in 12 to 13 at least games from him. So there is going to be that little bit, but like when he's down, it's going to be all Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think it's going to be consistent RB1 numbers and the RB1 number potential if, injuries and such.
No, I agree.
Your player that scares you the most in round 1, who is it?
It's Puka. I mean, this dude can. I think you and I both agree that like with Stafford being his favorite target, he could easily be the wide receiver 1 in fantasy, and we wouldn't be shocked at the end of the year. But with Devontae Adams coming in, I think that takes away the red zone targets. And like I don't want to say I believe in injury prone, but Puka has missed time. He hasn't been the most healthiest player. So like for me, like I look at that, I'm just like, man, like if I really take him in my first run, I really needed to bank on him to be this 8 receptions, 80 yards, maybe a touchdown here and there kind of a guy. But I need him to be a receptions king the entire way through the season.
I think what I feel good about leaning on with Puka is, yeah, there is that concern that you may not have him the whole year, but his concentrated value that he does give you when he's out there, I think that's what kind of almost justifies, yeah, because he's an injured guy. He fell in the draft, and that was one of the big knocks was, he was constantly injured in college as well. So I completely understand that as well. Bijan's going to be mine. when it's all
Interesting.
said and done, I think Bijan's still going to be a top 2, top 3 running back for me when it
Yeah.
comes to all the situation. Of course, we're waiting for a few rookies here, but I think it just scares me because you're taking him at RB2, and that's what you're projected him for. That's what you're hoping to get, but that's just how these top 3 picks are usually going to be. There's just so much weighted into it. You have to get it right. So it's just the fear there. We saw Michael Penix for 2-ish games. We hope he can replicate it and still produce well for us. But I guess that's my only fear. What if not? Things could go
What
wrong in
was his
Atlanta.
numbers with Michael Penix in those last 2 games? Do you have them on you by any chance? Like, 'cause I'm
Uh,
very curious to see. I know it's a very small sample size, but like it's still something to kind of replicate and go off of.
Finished RB4 and RB2 in those last 2 games.
Pretty good.
It's
Pretty
pretty
good.
good. Pretty good. One of which was playing Carolina, though, which was one of the worst run defenses in the league. Washington went as
Which they play
well.
twice again.
Yeah, they do. He does. I think schedule's not out yet, but I do believe that's correct.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not a full fear here. Look, it's the first round. It's hard to really put
Yeah.
down something here, but it's just the cautious optimism. I dove hard into the Falcons' offense last year, so I think it's just me making sure I do my due diligence before I fully plant my flag in the confidence.
I agree.
Let's head to round 2. Give me your lock. Let's start positive again with round 2.
Out of like these guys, like I mean, I didn't even realize it, but like I need to change mine. I can't believe he's going ahead of him, but it's AJ Brown. I think he's being truly disrespected at the rankings as wide receiver 10 when all he's ever done has just been consistently one of the best wide receivers in the game. And I think I might be buying into the Eagles more this season just because of they wanted to ban the tush push. So I think, and this team has egos on it. They are very egotistical, and it starts from the head top from Nick Sirianni. That dude doesn't
100%.
care, and he's gonna shove it back in everybody's face for trying to ban this. So like, I think they're gonna run up the scores on a lot of people, and I think you're getting a top 5 wide receiver 10. That's kind of criminal in my mind.
I agree with you. It's hard because I am just a little apprehensive because of the defense. If this defense continues to evolve, then they may not need to score as much. But I think that's where you're relying on, as you said, the ego of the head coach, and they're still going to try and run it up when they can. AJ Brown came away with only 7 touchdowns. There's gonna be some regression back to the passing game.
Yeah.
Hurts and Barkley had so many rushing touchdowns. Barkley made a statement. They just extended the guy. So maybe they're not going to be leaning on him quite as much if they pull him back 10-15% just a little bit to keep him going. These 2 wide receivers, they're paying him quite a bit. Let's get him rocking and rolling. Love the choice. Mine's going to be Derrick Henry though. We've got whisperings in the bushes of an extension coming his way as well. I mean, hell, I thought he could have been in talks for an MVP halfway through the season last year. It was
Oh
him and
yeah, it
Barkley
was
for
him
a
and
long.
Saquon all the way through. They were neck and neck in the rushing title.
So as far as depending on what your strategy is with best ball, if you're looking for, hey, I want something that's going to be consistent. He may not have the exact ceiling of all these other guys, missing the pass catching, but a guy who's going to get me a touchdown just about every week and 100 yards in many of his games. I think Derrick Henry's a great hero RB approach and a lock in round 2.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at these rankings because like my next guy's a gamble and like he's going ahead of Derrick Henry, which like I think it's a bunch of us degenerates that know like the outcomes of like where it could be versus what it is. Like
Hmm.
my gamble's Christian McCaffrey. At the end of the day, like this is the lowest you'll ever see him again, potentially. I mean, obviously the fall off could be surreal, but like again, like he's still under contract with CMC. Shanahan uses the running back and uses a one running back system. It's Christian McCaffrey. Like I think I will be walking away with Christian McCaffrey in a lot of drafts just because it's just like I get it. He's injured and I know the Achilles tendonitis is a thing, but like I'm about to get the guy who's been the RB1 not once but a few times this late. Like the gamble's worth it for me.
And he's also one of those players that I trust his process. He's going to be doing every possible thing he can to get himself out there. They extended him last summer as well, so it's not like they're going to completely replace him here in the draft. So Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey, I think he's a great sprinkle to get him at RB5, a guy who can give you the workload of RB1 easily.
Yeah.
My gamble, it hurts me. There's a couple guys in contention for this one. I've got Bucky Irving here. It's just
I understand it.
it's the mountain of things. We're taking him at RB9. We still have Rashad White back there who will continue to be involved at least to a degree. You have 3 good wide receivers, 2 great wide receivers on this team. You have Baker Mayfield who is, can be mobile as well. It's just there's so many realms. I feel like regression has to be coming for the Bucks. They have been just on a hot streak since Tommy retired. This team has just continued to move through offensive coordinators, and it works. So I'm not doubting it. I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of Bucks across all of my leagues, all of my formats. But it's just here before the draft, just a little.
Yeah, like when I look at the rankings, like there's some guys where I understand like he's like Bucky or Josh Jacobs, and it's like I don't know, man. Like I really like Josh Jacobs, and they still like I know like they have Marshall and Lloyd, like Kyron Williams, another one. Like I'll take Bucky before Brees Hall for sure, but like Chase Brown and Bucky, I feel like are the kind of the same. If the Bengals don't touch anything of the running back system, I feel like there might be a little more upside with Chase Brown just because we saw what he did, and there's no one really behind him besides Zach Moss. So.
Chase Brown, he probably should have. He would have hit this perfectly just because the ceiling is so volatile depending on where they
Yeah.
draft. And then your fear here in round two, we both have the same one. It's Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Not that we don't think that he can finish as the tight end one, but it's where you're drafting him. You're taking him right here on the 15th pick, going around guys like Devon Achane, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, new quarterback. They're upgrading weapons. Geno Smith's a better quarterback than what they have, so his ability to spread the ball around is going to be there versus just them hammering Brock Bowers all night long. So, just again, apprehension. That's
Yeah.
kind of where we're drafting now.
I just have a hard like I do a ton of best ball drafts, so I will draft Brock Bowers for sure. It's just he won't like tight ends are just I still treat it as a redraft, which you're not supposed to. It's just hard to have him being so early. Like realistically, like where do you feel comfortable taking Brock Bowers? Like where
I think I'd prefer him around that 2-3 turn.
yeah.
If we get after this year, if he does it again, then I'm sure he's going to turn into Kelsey as Kelsey was 4-ish years ago when, you're okay taking him at the 1-2 turn. But yeah, give me another season. Give me another season. We definitely had some regression from Sam Laporta. Different situation, pedigree, all that kind of stuff. But just
I want to see where your line is. I think you and I are both on the same page. Like you take Drake London before Bowers, right?
yes, yeah,
AJ Brown before Bowers, right?
yes.
Jonathan Taylor before Bowers, right?
Probably
Okay.
depending on
I
the
think it's
build.
probably that Lad, Tyreek Hill, Bucky areas where you're like, all right, I'll probably this
I'd take
is
him over Lad.
yes. I take him over Bucky and I take him over JSN.
Correct. Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up here with the third round here. I guess not completely wrap this up. My pick that I think is a lock. I think Kyron Williams. He looks pretty good. We've had whispers of an extension coming his way. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot of damage as far as a running back. I'm sure they grab one. Just it's a deep class, but I'm confident Kyron's going to kick some booty this season. At RB12, the guy gets too much. He gets more work than the RB12 does.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, I want to say like my winner for this is Chase Brown. I mean, you can't talk about him enough. When he finally took over the backfield when Zach Moss went down, how many RB1 finishes did he have? I want to say it was absurd. I want to say three or four.
Like RB1 overall, you're just talking about like RB1
RB1
finish.
finishes, yeah, and he's going as an RB2 area, which is kind of
Yeah,
absurd to
we
me.
got RB 5, 12, 5, 4, 10, 10, 6, 4, 14. Especially in
Yeah,
the playoffs for you. That 10, 6, 4, 20, 14 to finish the season. Oh!
yeah, I think I don't know. I think Chase Brown's stock will rise continuously after the draft. 'Cause I don't see the Bengals investing a ton
How old
in
do you
this
think he
offense.
is?
23.
25.
Okay.
He's going into year 3 at 25. Poor guy. He's not getting an extension.
Yeah, that'd be tough for him, but I don't, I only need him for 1 year, so I just need him
Oh,
to go off
that's
this year.
yeah, it's rough for him, not for us. Your lock is Chase Brown. Let's go with the I'm gonna go with my gamble. It's Marvin Harrison. This one it's a little bit more of a challenge for me because I feel like it's great value at wide receiver 18. I do think
Yeah.
there's a better than not chance that he returns that for you, but at the same time, it's Kyler. It's the show out there in Arizona. Do they get the offense fixed? This is a defensive minded head coach that they have out there, so his priority is that side of the ball. I hope that they really work on this offense a bit. I mean, Michael Wilson's their wide receiver too. I'd love to see them grab another talented wide receiver to add to this offense. But Marvin Harrison, he can definitely give you a top 12 finish, but it's sketchy.
It's sketchy. I understand it. He had like 800 yards, I think like a little under eight touchdowns. So like good numbers. I mean, obviously he was in the fourth overall pick, so you expected, the moon and the stars, which I think you and I both said before the season started, like probably not going to draft him a ton. I think he's going way too high for a rookie. I think this is actually a good spot for him. I think this is probably, appropriately rated for him. I think I'll have a good healthy amount of him. I can see why there's a gamble though, just because you just don't. This offense is kind of like an anomaly. You just don't really know. Like James Conner's a featured back. They drafted Trey Benson. They gave James Conner an extension. Trey McBride is actually the leading receiver for this team. Like it's supposed to be Marvin. So yeah,
Which
it's all over the place.
which might lead that this might be his best platform to get him on because
Yes,
he may finish right around wide receiver 18, but it's on the back of 4 to 6 really good games, and then he gave you 5 points or less in the other
some
five.
duds.
So this might be the platform that I prefer him in this year.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
absolutely.
some New York players because I've got my fear and you've got your gamble and your fear. So, Brees Hall, tell me about him. What's your thoughts on him?
Dude, after the coach talk, I mean, it's coach talk. Brees Hall is talented. We can both acknowledge that. Like when we
Yes.
seen it, he's great. The problem is that last year, like I even said it with some friends, like he didn't look like Brees Hall. Like there's some runs where he was like he took off, but he got tackled from behind. I'm like, that's not really Brees Hall. Brees Hall usually is faster than that. So like I'm just kind of like I'm very leery with him, especially with Justin Fields, because I think Justin Fields was going to poach some touchdowns. Like he's going to RB11. I'd much rather have Kyron, Chase Brown. Like he's starting to fall in my rankings just a little bit. So like where he's going is a little too rich for me. But like man, like he could be back to what was it like 2 years ago when he was like the RB2 or RB4. Like that's not out of the possibility. It's just I just don't see it happening with this offense the way it's happened.
Yeah, he didn't do bad this past year. Finished his
Did
RB
it?
16, 17 and a half in full PPR. For, RB2 is what he finished in full PPR 2 years ago. I still think it's within the realm of possibility this season, but there's just so many caveats, so many different flags. They may not all be red, but there's flags back there between that 300 monster and then of course the quarterback. So let's talk about some Garrett Wilson here. This is my fear player as well. I'm afraid to draft him at wide receiver 15. I think he clearly beat the ADP last year. I don't know how. I still don't believe that he did, but he finished as what was it? Was 12
Our wide
exactly.
receiver 12, yeah.
1,100 yards, 101 catches, 7 touchdowns. But can he do that with his old college quarterback, the guy who can't throw worth a damn?
Okay, so for me, he's my gamble. I think I'm a Garrett Wilson stan though. I mean, look, so his rookie year, 83 receptions, 1,100 yards. Second year, 95 receptions over 1,000 yards, and then this past year, 100 receptions and 1,100 yards. Like he has done this with bad quarterbacks. I will continuously draft Garrett Wilson no matter what because he gets it done with bad quarterbacks. Like I just want him to get a good quarterback. He is the new Terry McLaurin.
I mean, PPR, he's finished 21, 26, and 10.
Yep.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not too shabby. So
And you're
I'm
getting him
not
as wide receiver
against
15.
and I'm not against it. I guess would it within best ball, are you stacking him with Justin Fields? Or are you
Yeah,
more likely to
well,
take him naked?
I do a ton of drafts, so yes, there will be times where I'll stack him. And Justin Fields is, I don't know where he's going now. I'm assuming he's moved up quite a bit, but before that, it was, I mean, what is he, QB what? He's got to be pretty high.
QB 15. Yeah, he was like 27, I think, like a week or two ago.
Yeah, QB 15, yeah, I'd probably stack him. That's around that area, it's a bunch of like maybes, whatever. But if I have Garrett Wilson, yeah, of course I want to stack him because he's going to get a touchdown thrown to him, and it's going to be by Justin Fields, more than likely. So.
Justin Fields ADP should only go like 15. It's not going to stay there much longer.
No, it's gonna creep up when we get around draft, like when the NFL draft happens. All this is gonna just creep up tremendously.
Yeah, I get that. All right, we got 3 rounds in the book. Let's go to round 4. This is Again, we're double dipping on players here, so let's go ahead and talk with the player we're scared of to grab the most right now. Who is it? Who do we have?
We have James Cook. I think it's just because of the whole entire situation that's transpired of being just saying, yeah, I don't want to give him an extension. And James Cook's like, all right, I'm going to sell my house. Like, it's just like, it's just one of these games where you're just like, man, and they're a run first team. And Josh Allen, I mean, he had a ton of touchdowns. So I don't see that happening again. He had like what, 14, 15?
16.
Sorry, 16. Yeah, I don't
16
see 16.
rushing. He's had two on the receiving end as well.
Yeah, I don't see 18 touchdowns happening
No.
again. I think where he's going, it's RB 14. Like I would like him as my RB2, but that's a very early RB2 for me, and I just don't feel comfortable. I can't get behind it. I could just definitely see Ray Davis stealing some touches. Um, Josh Allen obviously is going to steal touches.
They
I'm just
extended Ty
weary.
Johnson as well, so he'll be in the
Yep.
mix. So what's
Yeah.
funny is the last 2 years he's finished with 1,000 and 1,100 yards, top 12
He's
finishes in
great
both
on the
years.
field.
16 rushing touchdowns this past year. In 2023, he had two.
Yep.
Year before that, two. Granted, he wasn't the feature back his rookie season, but still,
Yeah.
regression is coming his way. I feel like that's going to be the theme of this episode. Is like we're just trying to, but I mean that's what this is. This is a game of probability off of a game of probability. We're just layers deep. Inception. Call me Leo, or you can be Leo. I'll be Levitt Gordon, whatever it is. But yeah, we talk movies here. And if you want more of it, you go to Too Much Movie Night. That's where you get tons of stuff there. Shameless plug. Whoa! Alrighty, let's let me go with my gamble here. I feel like I'm going to be the Debbie Downer when it comes to the Lions. Maybe I've got Ben Johnson up on the pedestal a little bit too much, but I think we have some numbers going down a little bit when it comes to this team of the Lions. And Jamison Williams, wide receiver 23. I don't hate it. He's a great best ball player because of the explosive plays, the big ends that he can give you. But I've never been a huge Jared Goff guy. So just the changing of the offense just a little bit. Does he give you the consistency that you're happy with this year? I just don't know.
I love Jameis Williams. He's the definition of boomer bust, and that is perfect for best ball. You have your weeks where you go off, King. I don't care what you do. The 80-yard touchdowns, I take it all day long. Because, in best ball, you should be walking away with at least a minimum of 6 wide receivers, 7 wide receivers. So you just need another one of those guys to pan out. But I like Jameis Williams. I understand your gamble, though, just because I think you are very much the emphasis of, like, this is Ben Johnson's, like, offense and he only was good with Ben Johnson. So I'm not that way. I think this offense is still the players are there, and they just brought up somebody who was right under Ben Johnson who'll call the same play. So like I'm not as worried as most people are.
I hope it doesn't bite me.
Yeah.
Give me your gamble. Who's it going to be? Same division, it looks like.
It is the same division, and it's actually the same offensive coordinator that you love is now the head coach. It's Roma Dunze. Roma Dunze, to me, last year, yes, it awful, yes, but that was because Caleb Williams was getting sacked a ton. They couldn't throw the ball, and Roma Dunze is going to a position where he's going as wide receiver 25. How if you see this offense flourishing to what it could be, how high does Roma Dunze finish? Potentially wide receiver one.
I was gonna say right in that like 12 to 16. I think is
Yeah.
pretty, and that I think that DJ Moore could also finish in the top, as a top 16 as well.
Yeah, I think both these guys, him and DJ Moore, could finish right at like, wide receivers 12 to 15 area. But I could also see it going to complete crap where he finishes like wide receiver 30 and DJ Moore is the favorite target. Or they bring in Ashton Genty.
That was yeah.
It becomes a run first team and everything else like that. So that's why it's my gamble. But Roma Dunze to me, when he came out of college, I mean, obviously it was the top three, him, Malik Neighbors, and Marvin Harrison. And so I think he's worth the gamble just because the upside is tremendous.
And with the deep ball throwing ability of Caleb Williams, Odunze does well in that part of the field. I think that's what kind of vies him pretty well for best ball, because even if I think that's the issue. If we have Genty or Omarion Hampton or Trey Henderson go early to the Bears, I think you're probably going to see more of DJ Moore as a top 14 receiver, and then Odunze is like a top 22 to 26, somewhere in there. But he
Yeah.
gives you some big weeks that absolutely crush for best ball.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. My lock. I mean, I don't know why you're fading it. So he tore his ACL. We faded a little bit after last year. Well, we're running strong. This show is heavy on some Rashi Rice. We're going to keep it going. No suspension. Team no suspension. I don't think he's going to be suspended. I think it's going to be a great value. Let's get it.
That's a gamble that I'm not going to take. I had a ton of Rasheed Rice. I have another buddy of mine who had even more of him and probably would have won quite a few best balls. Um, I think he's going to get suspended for 2 games minimum, but I think where he's going at is actually disrespectfully low. Like he's wide receiver 26. I can't see a world where he plays 14 games and doesn't finish as like a wide receiver 12.
I think he could play 12 games and still be a top 15, 16 wide
Exactly.
receiver.
Like, yeah,
Like,
I truly like it just depends on how well you construct your roster. Like, can you avoid losing a couple games? Like, because yeah, this guy, whenever he's on the field, all he does is just get like 8 or 9 receptions, 100 yards, and potentially a touchdown with Patrick Mahomes.
yeah. I mean, Devontae Adams missed 3 games last year and he finished as wide receiver 13. So
Mhm.
I don't think we're going to have an issue here. Because you got Xavier Worthy going as wide receiver 21, just above.
Yep.
And then your lock, who's it going to be?
It's the guy that didn't get the rule banned, man. It's Jalen Hurts. Again, it goes back to the ego thing. I think that they didn't get the tush push ban. There's 16 coaches or owners that voted against it. I see Nick Sirianni doing this even more this year, just to be in spite. And Jalen Hurts is the only one that benefits from it. So yes, and Jalen Hurts again. Even when there's days where he has bad throwing days, he still has a very safe floor just because of his rushing upside.
Yeah, finished as, I guess, QB9 here, but depending on your platform, I think I'm looking at 6-point passing touchdown ranking.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, freaking unreal, man. 14
Yeah.
rushing touchdowns, 15, 13, 10.
Yeah, I'll take those all day long in best ball.
All day. Yeah, and you got a little sprinkle in here, DK Metcalf here at the end of round 4. Scared of that one?
Yeah, just because like it's George Pickens is there. There's no. It's. I think you and I are under the assumption it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers. I just don't know how this is gonna play out. I've seen this happen before, and I think DK is tremendously talented. I just think he's gonna have good weeks and have bad weeks. I don't want to be a part of it. I can't be a part of it.
I get that. All right, let's go to round 5 here. Looks like our lock here is Chuba Hubbard. As far as our consensus lock, he is going as RB17, unless you're worried that Rico Dowdle is going to win the job in camp. There's no reason this dude should be going as RB17. Jonathan Brooks, their second round guy that they got last year, he's not playing this year, folks. Miles Sanders, he's off the team. It's going to be Chuba. They extended him quite a bit of he got a bag. He
4
got a
years.
bag.
I think he got the same contract that Ramondre got. He got a nice little
It
like
was
9 million a season or something like that.
quite a bit of coin. So he is going to be the guy. I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know why you'd be fading him. Finished as RB14 last year. He also missed the last 2 games. So, yeah.
No, I'm right there with you. I think Chuba's going to be the biggest value you get. I think he's going to go a lot earlier, and I think most of the drafts that I've done, he's gone a lot earlier because I just think he's more valuable than a couple of the other guys.
I bet we have
Like
rookies going
Chuba
ahead
or
of him.
Joe Mixon. Like, are you still
think I'd
Joe
go-
Mixon?
I think they'd be in the same tier for me. I'd probably
Yeah.
take a little bit more Chuba, just leading on the age situation.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of Joe Mixon, I guess. Same tier.
I've taken Chuba before James Cook, so like I'm not.
I would do
even-
that. I would do
Yeah.
that. Give me that gamble. Who do you have?
Oh man, for me it's the Arizona phenom right now, Tetairoa McMillan. You watch his tape and you just sit there and say, wow. And then you kind of dive into the numbers and you're like, oh man, you can't separate to save your life. Like, I just don't know if that's gonna, progress well at the next level. If he goes to a really good spot, Like a lot of people are like the Chargers. I think him and Ladd will be a very good offense. So I'd be really excited. But let's say he goes to like the Saints. I'm not excited at all. I actually that's why he's a gamble for me. That's kind of like a cheap way to do it as a rookie. But like again, I like him as a prospect. But I'll let you in, folks, on a secret. I have a ton of Travis Hunter. He is not even in these rankings, and it's so disrespectful. Like where you get like if you here's my advice. I think he's going in like round 9, round 10. Draft every single time Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I think up until the draft, because if he gets announced as a wide receiver on draft day,
Oh my
he's
goodness.
going to start skyrocket. This is the same thing you were pushing on Rashi Rice last year. Granted, it bit us a little bit, but that was ACL related. That
I
wasn't all
can't.
bad.
Yeah,
That wasn't
it
bad
wasn't
game.
bad because of his play. It was bad because Patrick Mahomes doesn't know how to tackle.
Yeah, it was an amazing call as far as taking advantage of an absolutely abused ABP. So I love the
Yes.
call. I think he needs to be picked up everywhere. I'm building up steam. Hell, we talked what 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. I
Yep.
Travis Hunter was kind of off my rookie board at that point. Nope, I got him as my number one wide receiver at this point. I think he's going to
Yeah,
be a
he's
wide
number one for me
receiver.
too. Yep.
So here we go. Sorry, Tet. You are. But
Yep.
that's what makes him your gamble and mine. And I'm not drafting him. I'm not taking him.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 28. I get it. Even if he goes to the Chargers, which might be one of the better situations for him as far as getting the draft capital and the team. Wide receiver 28 might be a reach for him. I bet I would say 36 somewhere in there. You get some decent weeks, but that's not how the offense is going to be run. They are going to run the ball. Ladd is still there, going to be soaking up targets. He's a rookie. QJ, maybe he's on the field a little bit, but he's not taking anything from him, of course.
Hampton to the Chargers, please. Hampton to
Oh
the
goodness.
Chargers.
Oh goodness. Alrighty, we ready for round 6? Looks like you got another
Yeah,
couple superheroes
I
you want
just
to
want
touch
to
on.
say, yeah, I think you and I can both agree that there's like a very tier drop off after certain wide receivers after the round we just talked about, round 5. I have them as winners. I don't think you'll ever get them this low again. It's Chris Olave and Jalen Waddle. Like there is a steep drop after Jalen Waddle. It's a very hard tier break for me. I don't know where you're at with that.
And it's same. I'm right there with you. And I think Jalen Waddle is a so this is the point of playing best ball at different times of the year, different tournaments, stuff like that. The way you win is taking advantage of things that you won't be able to take advantage of later. And I think some of that is taking Jalen Waddle, making sure you get some of him. It's rumors Tyreek Hill may not leave, but if he leaves and Jalen Waddle is the number one, well, number two behind Jonnu Smith, but if Tyreek Hill leaves and it's just
Stupid.
Jalen Waddle there, and he stays healthy. Like I know we're playing the if game, but that's what this is. It's a strategy on probability. So I think Jalen Waddle, he's my gamble in this round. I think he presents such a huge upside if Tyreek leaves.
I agree.
All right, round 6. Let's wrap it up here with this final round. I'll talk about my superstar first. I've got Juwan Jennings because wide receiver 35 is just stupid disrespectful. We're getting reports that Brandon Ayuk we're looking at probably about midway through the season, which is bad. This is good news season, folks. This is when hey, he's gonna be ready for training camp. He's gonna be ready for in July. So the fact that we don't have that super optimism makes me like, all right, so it's definitely not starting the season. So I don't even know where you would draft him.
I'm
Brandon
not
Ayuk.
drafting him.
Yeah,
I think he's on our. I think you and I can both agree. You just don't draft him.
yeah.
You really want to hold on to him in the IL spot and then be revamped up by maybe week 12. He's back to his normal self.
And
I
he
just
wasn't his normal self last year.
no. He
So
got like 5 points a game. Like it was gross.
yeah, Juwan Jennings was the best friend of Brock Purdy for so much of last season. A guy who gave you a number one overall finish on the week, gave you a number 5, number 8 finish. Ricky Pearsall, I'm excited for. I think he's a great grab. But Juwan Jennings, I think this is just horribly disrespectful at wide receiver 35.
Yeah, my winner is actually your co-part. It's Ricky Pearsall.
Let's do
I
it.
think he had a great end of the season. He showed flourish, showed real signs of like the breakout, and I think with with Brandon Ayuk being gone for half the season, probably more. I just think if you want to take a gamble, like oh you like Jawan, you like Ricky. I like Ricky more than Jawan, but it's not by a crazy amount. But I think I'll draft Ricky before I draft Jawan, just because of it's a PPR upside. The full point. I think Ricky's just going to be snagging. I think they're close to 100 receptions this year. I think truly that's where his line could be.
I think it's a bulletproof pick.
Yeah.
My fear, the guy I'm afraid to take here. Oh man, we're picking on tight ends, aren't we? Look at that. It's going to be
Yeah.
tight end 4. It's Sam Laporta. It looks like we're both in agreement here on this one. I have no interest in taking any tight end outside of McBride or Bowers before round like 12. If
Yeah.
we're being honest, there is so much to be had this year as far as tight end goes later. I don't want this. I don't want this at all. We touched on the lines. I don't know how much I believe I know what's going to happen in that offense.
Yeah, like we said, Ben Johnson's gone. The new guy's going to come in and, have his way with his offense. And, maybe he does something different. And I think Laporta is going to I think he'll be a tight end 1. That's not really saying a whole lot after Powers McBride. It's just like, sure, Jonnu Smith is a tight end 1 right now. And that's gross to me. Like, that's truly gross. Like, no, thank you.
No, that is asking to be like, dang it, we just shouldn't have done it. It was 1 year,
Yeah,
we shouldn't have done
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam Laporta, I am staying away from. Give me your. Oh wait, no, that's your stay away from. Give me your another one of your champions. It looks like you got 2 in this round.
It's James Conner, man. Like, we were afraid to draft him with the injury prone. And what does he do? What do you finish as the running back? It's got to be close to 1, if not.
11.
He's what, 11? Yeah, and you're getting him at RB 23. That's another steal. Like,
To be fair, he did miss a game. He missed week 18,
wow.
and he only gave you
And
one
Trey
point.
Benson looked terrible in that game. I've had it.
He was
Yes.
RB 63 in the championship game because he only played 15% of the snaps. But
Yep,
you knew he was
exactly.
banged up going into that game. The week before, he only played 44% of the snaps banged up. So, yeah, just picking at James Conner. But no, the guy got extended. I don't think they're going to draft anybody because they do have Trey Benson, a day 2 pick behind him. So ride James Conner for another back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. 7
Yeah,
touchdowns at least the last 3 years.
yeah. I'm probably gonna walk away with him being my RB 2 in a lot of drafts. I think he's just truly undervalued right now.
I'd agree with you with that one. Alrighty, my gamble, my high upside player, Jaden Reed. Oh, Jaden Reed. I've been in on the last 2 years. Am I gonna keep going with it because I have to? Because my boy Christian Watson's gone, and I think that is another reason I'm kind of leaning into this Jalen Reed. He's going at wide receiver 38, which it's about appropriate for what he gave you last year. It was upsetting, but a lot of this team went through Josh Jacobs the back half of last year. So I imagine we're going to have a little bit more the pendulum swinging close more to the wide receiver side, more of the passing touchdowns. And without Christian Watson, you've got 2 decent wide receivers there. This is also saying Tyreek Hill isn't being traded there. But if Jaden Reed can get on the field more so he can see over that 20% target share, I think that would help unlock him for a great, top 24 season this year.
No, he's a perfect best ball pick. I don't know if I'll get him in a ton of redraft. I think he's got a very high boom and a very low bust. So like I think he's perfect for this format. I'll probably have a ton of Jaden Reed just because like they use him in different ways. They use him as like a scat wide receiver too. So like I like it. I think we and I both agree he's a great wide receiver 2-3.
He finished as the wide receiver 1 overall on 1 week. He also finished as the wide receiver 110 on 1 week.
Gross.
So,
Gross.
like, the spectrum is just redonkulous here. Give me your gamble. Who do you have?
My gamble is Calvin Ridley. Again, this is purely just if Cam Ward comes out and just starts slinging that rock, who is he throwing to?
Calvin.
It's not Chigakonkwo. It's
Come
not.
on, really? You did that on purpose. You gotta slight me there on my tight ends.
It's not it's not AJ Brown's replacement, Traylon Burke.
Traylon Burks, yeah.
Yeah, like it's gonna be Calvin. He's the veteran there. They paid him a ton of money. He's come to Cincinnati. It's Cincinnati's old offensive coordinator. Again, at wide receiver 40, that is truly a gamble I'm willing to take on because I think Cam Ward. I think we both would agree he's very accurate, and Calvin Ridley's not a bad route runner. So I think he'll finish above this ADP, but he also could see him just going. If Cam Ward absolutely is the worst thing ever to come out of college, it could be awful.
Yeah, I think Calvin Ridley, he can get peppered enough with targets, be the focal point they paid him enough to be, that he will see enough to be involved. And Cam Ward's aggressive. He likes to throw it down the field, and Calvin Ridley works down that way. So I I do think this is a great value here at wide receiver 40. Could you imagine if they like? I thought what the Bengals did with drafting Joe Burrow at first overall and then at 2-1 taking T Higgins was great. There's going to be a bunch of wide receivers that are like borderline round 1 receivers that are probably going to fall. So if they can get Ibuka that falls there at 201 or Trey Harris or just one of those like Luther
They're going to
Burden.
take a round 3 wide receiver. I think you and I are both in that assumption. I think they're going to take a day 2 wide receiver. I think it'll be Restrepo. I think they'll go with him or the Washington State wide receiver, someone familiar with Cam Ward. I'm calling it. It's a random shot in the dark, but it's gonna be Restrepo or the wide receiver from Washington State, just so they want familiarity. And then never really, I don't know if that works out.
There's got to be a little bit of chemistry there.
Yeah.
Folks, we have got to shut it down. We're getting out of here for this Too Much Best Ball episode. Look forward to more of these episodes coming at you. We'll be looking for maybe one a week just to make sure that we are best ball ready, definitely after the draft when it becomes best ball summer. If you're looking for more of me, it's at @too_much_Brian on X, at @too_much_Brian everywhere else. Brennan, where are the people finding you?
You can find me on X at @too_much_BMulk, and then you can find me on the Fantasy Football Advice Network there as well.
Helping you, drafting, answering questions, cutting it up, talking a little bit. Do us a favor, help us out. Push those buttons down there. Like, subscribe, drop us some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Until next time, though, we'll see y'all later.